Good afternoon, and welcome to this week's episode of the Farmhouse Dirt. I am joined by Jason Barelman this afternoon, and we are talking a little bit about the Majestic Theater and what it brings to downtown Wayne. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Jason, and let you kind of talk about some of the history of the building, how things got started, what kind of drove this idea to keep the theater open in downtown Wayne.
Okay, well, the theater's been around since the 1920s, but it happened in 2009, I think, 2010, when I'm not sure which year that the theater actually closed down. It used to be the Twin Theaters,
right?
And so there were two screens, and then it was in horrible condition. I just moved to Wayne. I'd been in Wayne for a little while, and I remember going to the movies. And I think the last few times that you went, you wondered if the ceiling was going to fall in on you. So anyway, at that point, the community came together and raised money. And there was a lot of sweat equity that went into redoing the theater. So, but that, I think it reopened in 2010, 2011. And then it was a one screen at that point.
Absolutely.
But it took a lot of involvement from the community to bring it back. A lot of money was raised.
Indeed.
So anyway, that's kind of how it came back to life, I guess you could say. But there are some pretty cool features about this theater that sometimes people don't realize.
Right.
The mural behind us, this was Carolyn Albright from the college. Her students are the ones that did this. The chicken mural, and then also there's a mural behind the concessions that was done by a student or graduate of Wayne State.
Absolutely.
To Adam Boggs did that, and so that was just done recently. And then the sculpture here at the top, that was Steve Elliott. Dr. Steve Elliott did that sculpture. So, and that's really cool. And that's one thing I don't think most people even realize it's there.
When they walk in, you're just kind of in here for the movie experience. You don't really look around this entryway and foyer for the building. And so there's some really nice pieces here. And we should mention too, Carolyn owns the Blue Cat Gallery in downtown Wayne. And so that's another piece of our downtown that is really important to the community here. So we're just really fortunate to have these talented people in our community, and having Wayne State College here is really a benefit to us as well. So it's really been a cool project, and it's something that, the financial aspect of it doesn't stop. You are always fundraising. You're always trying to find donors to kind of help with the maintenance and the continuation of the theater here. So can you give us some ideas of ways people can get involved in that aspect of it too?
Well, for the most part, we do have on-screen advertising that happens before each movie, and that is one way that businesses can give back just by advertising. It's $600 a year to advertise. So, and it's just a PowerPoint slides is basically what it is. But that's one source of income that we count on to keep the doors open. And then you can always sponsor movies if you like, with kids movies, or if there's the 50th anniversary of Jaws is this year, so that's one. Or if there's another one that you like, So there's just different opportunities to sponsor movies, or like with you guys this coming Friday.
Great segue.
Yes, there we go. Yeah, this Friday, just by paying for everybody's ticket that night to come to the movies. So
absolutely,
and if their ticket is paid for, they might spend a little bit more in concessions, and concessions is where we do make our money.
Absolutely.
So so that is another way. At Christmas time, we have the free the Saturdays, like 4 Saturdays before Christmas, we have a free movie on the Saturday matinee, and that's another. We end up going out there and looking. I think last year we had like 24 different sponsors for the movie. Now, it doesn't cost us that much to bring the movie to the theater, but the extra, with all those different sponsors, that's just a good fundraiser for us.
It is.
And then we just have people that donate. We just received a $500 check in the mail, from a community member, and just, different ways like that. Anytime, if Christmas is a time, we do see a few more end of the year donations that come at that time, and but those donations are very valuable to keeping the theater, keeping our doors open. All these things are so important, and people coming to the movie. That's probably the biggest thing. We have to have people staying in town and coming to the movies, not staying home and watching on television. Most movies, most movies are, from Disney and MGM and all the big name studios, they're filmed with it in mind that you're going to watch it on a big screen with the sound system that we have.
Exactly.
So it takes everybody's part in keeping this place alive.
Yes, and this is a state-of-the-art facility. I mean, everything from the popcorn machine to the sound system to the projection screen that we use is just 100% what you would find in a big movie theater in a larger city, with the convenience of being in a small town, easy access, great parking, $5 to get in.
Exactly.
So, I mean, there's just so many benefits. And Jason does a really great job of getting really modern movies and movies that are pretty fresh on the market as far as being able to see them.
Yeah, we're a first run movie theater. So that means that we do get the movies just as they come out. So we can't open every movie because we have one screen.
Yes.
So when I say it's first run, it goes to second run. Probably about 6 months after it's been out, then it's considered a second run movie. And there are certain movie theaters that are second run movie houses, and we're a first run. So we're going to get it within the first. We try to get it within the first 4 or 5 weeks of it being out.
Absolutely.
And before it goes to streaming. So 30 to 40 days is what, where some of them send it to streaming. So we try to get it before then. We don't open a lot of movies because when we open, they make us keep them for 2 or 3 weeks.
Right. And then they get stale.
3 weeks, we can't, 2 weeks, and I shouldn't say we can't for 3 weeks, because when we had Mario Brothers here, we had it for 2 weeks and then we kept it for a third week because we were selling out.
Right. It depends on the movie.
It does. It really depends on the movie. So, there's lots of rules and everything with, getting the movies here. But we do try to get them as quickly as we possibly can. And we can't show all of them. So there will be some movies that come out that you might see advertised, and you wonder if we're going to have it. And sometimes we are going to. It really depends on how it's trending.
The time of year. Yes,
exactly.
Definitely. And Jason, one of the most profound things that I had heard you say earlier was that when you retired from your real full-time job and then you took this job on thinking as it was a part-time job, it really turned into something that you're dealing with daily.
Right.
And there's just a lot of phone calls and a lot of moving parts and things that you have to coordinate as the coordinator of the theater.
Right.
So, I mean, talk to us a little bit about that and what that all entails too.
Right. Well, I always say that, yes, the movies are Thursday through Sunday, but to get the butts in the seats and the film on the screen, that happens Monday through Friday.
Right.
So, with like on Mondays, that is when our movies arrive. We have an e-delivery system now, which is new. I mean, I got that. It's been a year, I think, about a year and a half now since we've had e-delivery, which means that we don't have to wait for UPS or FedEx to deliver a hard drive to our facility.
Right.
Okay.
And run the risk of them not delivering.
Of getting here late or whatever. And you had, if anything would be wrong with that drive, that would mean that they would have to ship a new one out.
Yes.
Whereas with e-delivery, I mean, they would have to send us a new one, but the delivery time is going to be faster if there would be anything wrong, with that.
Absolutely.
So that happens on Monday, and then if I don't see that film if I don't see it to where I can, it's called ingesting.
Yes.
So if I don't see it to where I can ingest it, then I have to be contacting, the delivery system, asking them if they even see that it's been booked for us.
Sure.
Okay. So, and I have a booking agent now that is very, very helpful. I didn't have one when I first started.
Sure.
It really does save a lot of headaches by having somebody else worry about and to work with the studios.
Yes.
Because when you're just one person working with Disney or Sony or whatever, you're just one person.
Right. And we're just small potatoes.
Exactly. On a small one screen in Wayne, Nebraska.
Right.
So anyway, if I don't see it on Mondays, then, that I have to notify my booking agent as well as the studios that, it's not there.
Of course.
And then on Tuesday is when the key arrives. Okay. And the key, you have to have the key to unlock the movie. Because I can have it ingested. It can be in our system. Right. But if I don't get that key to unlock it, then we're not going to show it.
Who knew?
Yeah, exactly. And it's not a key. It's
it's a digital code.
It's a digital code, exactly. So, and then the digital code, like with the movie this weekend, I like when because we show the movies on Thursday night, a lot of new movies don't open at theaters, or they don't start showing them until Friday night.
Right.
But
right.
we're Thursday. So I really like it if they get me the key so then I can preview the movie on Wednesday.
Of course,
Okay?
yes.
Because if it happens that something's wrong with it on Thursday,
right,
then we run the risk of not getting it to us by Thursday night.
Yes.
There's too short of window.
Yes.
But of course, Karate Kid did not arrive. The key did not arrive, I have the key, but it doesn't open until 1 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Okay. Oh my goodness.
So tomorrow, I'll spend tomorrow morning previewing the film to make
Right.
sure that all the, because we program the machine with all the lights,
yes,
and the sound and all that.
Sure.
So we programmed into the movie. And it's, once you learn how to do it, it's pretty slick.
Right.
But yeah,
all the things you don't know though until you need to know that.
Right. Exactly. Oh yeah. When I,
yes.
when I interviewed for this job, I had no idea.
Right.
I was like, oh, I love movies.
Yes. It can't be that hard, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of like selling real estate. It can't be that hard.
Exactly. And it's like, well, okay, you love movies, but how are you at technology?
Yes.
Technology is probably my biggest stress.
Of course. Yes.
Just because if anything, like 2 weekends ago, our closed caption system, so anybody that's hearing impaired or visually impaired,
sure,
that they count on that closed caption
right.
system to be able to, enjoy the movie. And so it went down, and we don't have that many people that take advantage of that.
Right.
But we have a visually impaired patron that, of course, that was the night that she chose to come. And I couldn't do anything that night.
Right.
So then the next day on Saturday, then I contacted our, we have a tech support out of Omaha.
Okay.
And
yes.
so then we figured out that it was probably the power supply.
I see.
So we don't have one around here for that system. It's not like I could go to Ace and buy the power supply. So we had to wait. But luckily we got it in time for next weekend. So So anyway, there's just things like that that you deal with, and getting the advertisement into the newspaper, doing all the social media advertising.
Right.
Also, I spend a lot of time, looking at trailers and just kind of thinking ahead and trying to figure out what to show. So that kind of happens Monday through a Friday. I also just got back from a conference or convention. It's the North Central National Association of Theater Operators.
Yes.
So that was down in Omaha, and so I went to that conference, and they had a vendor show.
Yes.
So then, we have a point of sale system, and I'm looking for a new one because the one we have, there's not a person that you can talk to if you have problems. You can get on the chat,
or
whatever. So I'm looking for something different. So I did a demo of that this week, and there's just all kinds of little things, or dealing with credit card, issues and things like that. So,
well, just making sure you have enough popcorn seeds and oil and pop in the canisters.
And that before when I first started, basically it was a 7-day-a-week job that you're always doing something.
Sure.
And so I finally reached a point where I was very stressed and anxious, and I was on vacation and dealing with the movie. They couldn't figure out how to get the movie on the screen, or I had to change the answer machine. From a distance, whatever.
Yes.
So I finally got to the point where it's like, okay, we've got to do something different here, because I don't want to continue being here 7 days a week, dealing with the theater 7 days a week. So we hired Angela Ness, and she's our assistant coordinator.
Wonderful.
And then she is the she's Thursday through Sunday. And so she now is the one that she does all the scheduling of the volunteers and the staff, and then she orders the popcorn and the pop, and so she oversees the concessions.
That's great. So well, and it takes more than one person, and like you said, Jason, a lot of this is volunteers that are running the concessions or helping out with the cleanup after the movie and taking tickets. So there's just a lot of moving parts that you have to be in charge of, in addition to making sure this is profitable and can make a little bit of money so we can keep the doors open. So
yes, and so we do have Angela and myself, and then we have 2 part-time people now that are paid employees.
Yes.
And our part-time people, they maybe work 10 hours a week or 5 to 10.
Sure.
And that's kind of a tough job finding people for that part-time position, because they come in maybe from 6 to 7 to open a movie.
Yep.
And then that's it.
Yeah.
Sometimes we might have them come back to help clean, or they might get to stay and cover the show. But it's, finding that person that's okay with that kind of a schedule can be a little bit challenging as well.
Right.
And right now we have Don Heiser is another part-time person. So we have Carter Hazeman.
Yes.
You'll see him at the ticket booth
Right.
most of the time.
Yep.
Then Dawn, a lot of times Dawn, she has, worked at the hospital and has another part-time job too. So she might just come in to help us open the show or whatever. And that might be the hour that she's here.
Right.
But then everybody else is a volunteer.
Exactly. Yes. So a lot of nights and weekends going into this.
Right.
And, we're going to be bugging the theater this weekend on the 6th, Friday the 6th, in honor of Home Ownership Month, which is going to be celebrated all June. Jason has been so kind as to allow us to offer free admission on Friday night for the Karate Kid Legends movie. And so our team is going to be serving the concessions this weekend and helping with that. So she's got a bunch of fumbling real estate agents that she's got to doctor around back there.
Well, you guys are good. I mean, when you guys did it the first time that you did it, it's like, wow, you guys know.
We're a well-oiled machine. We got a lot of transactions to coordinate.
Exactly. Well, and what's been nice too is that we've borrowed Becky a couple of times for the free movie because she is so good at pop, serving the pop.
She's a very efficient office manager.
Yes. So it's been really nice for her to be able to come just for, an hour to help us get kids through concessions.
Definitely.
During the day, it's hard. That's a challenge. Trying to find people during
somebody.
The day. So and the thing is with our volunteers too is that we have a lot that have been here, a long time. We don't do the original model. Right. When the theater first reopened, they would have different organizations from the community come and cover everything. Right. But the very first coordinator, Melanie, I can't even imagine how that was. Right. Because we have people now that know they're here on a regular basis. They know what they're doing. And with her, she had new people every single weekend. Very true. And she was the only paid employee for a while. Yep. So like she told me one time, the lobby was full. She was at the register because she was the only one that could run the register. Yeah. All volunteers. And the pop, which is down in the basement, one of the bibs ran out. So she had to go, okay, hold it, everybody. I'll be right back. Yes. And so she had to run downstairs to change that. Right. And so everything just stood still. Sure. And she would also say there would be times that groups would call and say, oh, you know what? We don't have anybody for tonight, or we're not going to be able to do that this weekend. Yep. And it's Thursday and the movie is in 4 hours. Yeah. And now she doesn't have any help. Exactly. So when I first started, I said, I'm more than happy to use volunteers. I think that's important. But I'm not going to go back to that model because I knew the challenges that she had with that. Very stressful. But we've got some great volunteers, and we have a lot of regulars that come in, to help. We also have Dustin Ankeny is our volunteer that helps me with projection upstairs. So when we got the new e-delivery system, he learned everything with me. Wonderful. And so he, if I'm going to be gone, I'll check with him. It's like, okay, I need to be gone this weekend. Can you cover just in case anything would happen upstairs? Sure. And so he is the one that is the backup in case something would go down. Now, Angela is also learning more upstairs. Right. But still, I still know that there will be things that happen upstairs that I've not encountered in the 2.5 years that I've been here, almost 3 years that I've been here. Absolutely. So there's always something new that you're like, okay, so we don't have any sound. Let me think. And people are in the audience and you don't have sound. Yep. Our favorite words for that when that happens at our office is, well, that's never happened before. Well, and there are plenty of times like that. Well, like with the closed caption, it's like, well, that hasn't happened before. Right. And so you just have to deal with things. And I think I've only had, I don't know if I've even had one show that I've had to, everybody had to leave because it wasn't working. Sure. I know we were going to show a movie on Sunday, the Nebraska movie, of course. And it was a special showing, but then it had gone down. So I wasn't able to show that on Sunday or whatever. But I shouldn't even say that because I probably have just jinxed myself. Not for Friday night. Friday night's going to be good. Yeah, that's right. But and we're going to get to a point here soon. We've had this projector has been around for 14 years now. Right. So that will be our next big purchase. Absolutely. Is that because we have new sound, a new amplifier, and sound processors. Those are all new. Our computers, our server, all that is new. Our projector is probably the oldest. The thing that we're probably going to have to start paying attention to. So things start happening with that, then
Yes.
we'll have to start fundraising for that, because we're probably looking at anywhere from 40 to 60,000.
Unbelievable. Yeah. And I see you're holding one of the brochures for the capital campaign.
And this is this is from 2023.
Sure.
That's when we did the capital campaign.
Yes.
But we're always accepting donations.
Absolutely.
It is key to helping us keep our doors open and our prices low.
Yes.
I mean, we really do want to keep our tickets at $5.
Right.
If we have a 3D, it's a little bit more expensive, primarily because of those glasses. Those glasses are expensive if we have a 3D movie. So we do charge a little bit more for them. But $5 is really nothing. So you can come, you can have a regular size pop, which is 24 ounces, and a small popcorn, and get into the movie for $14.
It's amazing. Great deal in downtown Wayne here.
It is a great deal. And it's just really, sometimes it's just the place to be.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you can come Friday night for only $9.
Exactly.
Because we're going to cover the cost of the admission.
Yeah. Or you could get that large popcorn.
That's right.
Yep.
That's
that
right.
large treat.
Upgrade. Yes.
Yeah. So, and I know when people come to the movie, concessions are, they're expensive.
Yes.
But that is where we make our money. On average, the movie studios take 50% of our ticket. So after taxes, so $468 is what we're dealing with, and then they take 50% of that.
Right.
So we don't make our money on the movie tickets. We make it in concessions. So that is where, that is why we do want you to not bring your own concessions in.
That's
to
right.
Buy them here, at the concession stand. Now, you can bring, in a drink container or a popcorn and get $1 off of your drink or your popcorn. We do ask that you bring in clean containers. So that's important.
Definitely.
But yeah, you can get a discount that way. But that is what is keeping our doors open, is the concession area.
Right. Absolutely. So,
and I will say with concessions too, we're grateful for Pack and Save too, because they provide our candy at their cost.
That's wonderful.
So they are very, very supportive. And the new owners, we were a little worried about that, but they stepped right up. And Brent and Dana are fabulous to work with out at Pack and Save. So
we're really fortunate to live in this small community, aren't we?
We are. I mean, there's so much to be said about that, because people do appreciate, the theater, and they know it's important to the livelihood of our community.
Absolutely. Yes.
So,
well, thank you so much for your time today, Jason. This has been great. And thank you all for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you on Friday right here at the Majestic Theater. Come check out the mural on the wall here and all of the great artwork, and join us for the movie. We've got Karate Kid Legends.
And one more thing. The most up-to-date resource for the movies are our website.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
It is majesticonmain.org.
Okay.
And that is where that gets updated. As soon as I knew that I was getting Mission Impossible in 2 weeks, I went there immediately and updated that site. So that's your most current. We advertise in the newspaper, but every once in a while, the ad might be wrong, or I might screw up on a date or whatever, or something could happen, and we can't get it changed because it's already gone to print, or so that's the most current place to check.
Absolutely. And that has show times, which are usually Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And again, majesticonmain.org is where to go. So thanks again, Jason.
Okay,
This
thank
has been
you very
great.
much.
Have a great day, and
Yeah.
we'll see you
at the movies.
Friday.